What's up, folks? HitPointsGaming here. Make sure you visit us on the Filling the Void podcast network on Spreaker and also at youtube.com/HitPointsGaming. I'm here with my brother, Wes. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And today we're going to be talking about our experiences growing up and going to arcades. And basically, we don't have that anymore on the East Coast. And one thing that I wanted to go over is some of the more interesting games that we played. And of course, there's going to be what I like to call sellout games as well. But I have some games in this list here that are very unique.
Yeah, me too. I remember the arcade scene very, very fondly from the time I was very little up until, I want to say late teens, and I miss it quite a bit. It was an amazing experience that most kids don't get these days.
Yeah, they'll never have going to the arcade and seeing something huge and brand new that they've never seen before.
It was a big deal.
So one of the spots that we had here in Long Branch, New Jersey was Wizard World.
Yeah,
that was our main spot to go to.
And directly across the street, Pinball Steve's.
Pinball Steve's.
Which also had great games. It was much smaller than Wizard's World,
right,
but they packed quite a bit into a very small area.
They also had the new stuff first.
Yes, they did.
All the time
yes, they did.
there. So one thing that I remember going there and seeing first was actually Street Fighter 2. And there was this big fat guy that always played, and he would wreck everyone with Blanca.
I remember that dude.
Yeah.
I remember that dude, and I remember saying that's the first place I saw it as well, was Pinball Steve's. A lot of my firsts were at Pinball Steve's.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can Google it, if it'll come up or not, but it was a great arcade.
And one thing I remember specifically about that moment was, other people are playing them, and, here I am, some literal little kid, maybe 6 or 7.
He was quite sweaty, right?
Yeah. He was pretty gross. And you sat... I went up and I put my quarter in, and I played him, and he let me take a round off him, which shows a ton of sport.
That means a great guy.
This kid comes into play, and you let him take a round off you and get a couple hits in, and then you just make sure that you win, so you get to keep playing. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, he let you actually experience the game,
right,
as opposed to just putting you in the corner and thrashing you. Yeah.
So a couple other things that I saw there. First, speaking of Street Fighter, was Mortal Kombat. That was the first time that we saw Mortal Kombat #1. I remember Wes came home and told me, there's this game where real people are killing each other.
And it was not the easiest thing to explain at the time.
No.
You can't really, because there's nothing like that. At that point, there's nothing like that whatsoever. And I'm like, yo, dude, it's not any kind of cartoon sprites or whatever I said at the time. These are real people on the screen.
Ripping heads off. So the next time I made sure I went and saw it. And it was crazy. It was crazy at the time, but that wasn't the first digitized game that we played at an arcade, because we also played Pit Fighter.
Yes, which is, in retrospect, not very good.
Right. In retrospect, it's terrible.
Yeah, but it was really fun at the time and amazing to look at.
Dude, I remember...
Also, a Pinball Steve's place was the first time.
Was it?
Yeah, that's the first time I'd seen Pit Fighter. Yeah.
I have a very fond memory playing it at CV Square Mall, but... I didn't know we saw it at Steve's first.
Yeah, Steve's first, yeah. And I don't have this on my list, but I do remember this was maybe the only place I had seen the 4-player version of Run and Gun? Run and Gun basketball.
Right.
A 4-player arcadey, amazing basketball game where, to me, it just beats the hell out of NBA Jam. 2 people on this side, actually, and then another screen on the other side. And each had their own, control, and it just... Go look for it or Google it. It's Run and Gun. Amazingly,
it's the best.
Definitely the best arcade basketball game. Don't let anybody tell you that NBA Jam is better, because it's not.
Nothing is better, actually.
Yeah, it's not even close.
So we're not gonna leave Steve's just yet. First time I ever saw a Laserdisc game was at Steve's, and that was Dragon's Lair.
I'd seen it before Steve's.
You saw it before Steve's?
Yeah,
okay.
I had seen that before Steve's.
So Dragon's Lair, most people know what it is, but it's a game that's a literal cartoon that you play, and you have to hit a direction, and there's an action button based off what you see on screen. But it doesn't show arrows all the time. Sometimes it does. It'll flash.
Something on the screen will flash.
Boom. And you have to press towards it.
Yeah, you're supposed to push towards it. That Dragon's Lair is one of the games I remember from one of my earliest arcades from when I was really, really little. That game's older than people think.
Okay.
And that I had seen, I want to say, before Kids World even burnt down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Dragon's Lair, I actually remember being at Steve's and one of the girl attendants there. Like, I was playing it and I knew how to play it, but I couldn't do it. And she was like, "You want me to help you?" And she was like, I was like, "Okay." And she I want to say she got like up to the night.
That's impressive.
Like, that game is ridiculous.
It's
all memory.
As a kid, you can't play that game.
Also,
from Steve's, I have Time Traveler.
Oh, that's on my list.
Is it? Yeah, it's on my list too. Well, now, that's one of those games that I want to say not everybody has seen, and it's in person. One of those, yeah, it is a fully 3D holographic game.
Go ahead.
It's not good necessarily, but it's incredibly impressive to see.
Right.
Basically, this is huge white machine. It looks like something from the future, and you're playing as a cowboy, traveling. There's Indians, Native Americans, and all kind of other stuff. And the controls are terrible. It's all pre-scripted.
It plays just like Dragon's Lair.
To see it is very, very cool because you feel like you can reach into the game and actually grab the characters. Like, it's something tangible there that you're looking at.
Yeah, it's not on the screen. It's floating. It's floating in front of you. It's like an orb, and it is.
Yes.
It's crazy to look at.
It's very impressive.
When you die, like, this big skull pops up, and it's like, and then deaths are pretty brutal, actually.
A little bit.
You get like hit in the hatchet, and you see this. It's an actor. It's not a cartoon.
Oh, yeah, it's all real people.
Real people, and don't think digitized like choppy graphics. We're talking. It's almost like a live video movie look.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
It's incredibly impressive to see.
Yeah,
not very impressive to play, but definitely stands out though. As something that, as far as arcade experiences go, that's a big one for me.
So a big arcade moment that I personally had going back to Mortal Kombat was the first time seeing Mortal Kombat 2 in the arcade.
And you saw that before I did.
I did. Wes was at the movies, and
I was playing basketball.
No.
Yeah, basketball? Man. Seaview Square Mall. You were at Seaview Square Mall at the arcade there, and right behind Seaview Square Mall was Battlemount. I was playing basketball.
Oh, so you were playing basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he used to play basketball, and I used to go to the mall with my mom and get a toy all the time. That was the thing. So I was at the mall, and they had one side was kind of older games, right?
Also fantastic arcade.
It was pretty small, but older games on one side, maybe like 20, right? Like
probably about 20.
About 20 games.
But it was one of my favorite arcades.
Yeah,
because they kept current and they also kept old school stuff in there as well.
So
in good shape.
I went down the left side, which is the old stuff, which there's a couple games there I want to talk about, but going around the corner, I see maybe 15 people huddled around a machine. And I look at the machine, it's Mortal Kombat, and I'm like, okay, these guys are playing Mortal Kombat. And I turn the corner, and I realize, like, this isn't Mortal Kombat 1. And the guys on the screen, and I don't know if, people realize this, are huge compared to Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah,
they're
huge. Much bigger.
And they were actually playing on the level with the green acid on the bridge.
I always find that's the first stage everyone sees in that game. For some reason, that's the first stage everyone sees in Mortal Kombat 2.
It was a Raiden player versus Scorpion, so I was like, "Oh my God, it's Mortal Kombat 2!" Mom had no idea why I was excited, because games back then you didn't hear about before they came out. Yeah, you just go there.
There's no internet back there floating around with all the newest releases.
And, again, they let me jump in. They let me cut the line. I jumped in. I threw a couple, get over here's and uppercuts, and that was it. And I took a round, and then I went home and told you that I played Mortal Kombat 2. You didn't believe me. I said I played Mortal Kombat 2. You're like, yeah, right. We went back to the arcade.
Why I didn't believe him is he wasn't known for lying about gaming experiences.
We went back to the arcade to show Wes, and there it was, man. It was so good.
Unbelievable game. Unbelievable.
It's still my favorite one, by the way. It's
it probably, you know what? I was much better at Mortal Kombat 3 than I was at 2, but I will say 2. I like 2 the best as well.
Now, it's funny we mentioned that you say 3
a big leap.
3 was at the same arcade, but they had it in the front. As soon as you walked by, 15 people pouring out of this arcade, and Mortal Kombat 3 was there. This guy in the neighborhood.
At my height of 2D side-scrolling fighting games, I want to say I was the best of anyone that I knew.
There was one guy who was better.
Oh, Bubea.
Bubea.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Bubea was better.
All right, I digress.
I was gonna add him in the story.
He was
the
champ. Yeah, and I would beat anyone. In Mortal Kombat 3, I was really good with a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Today, I've played it recently, and I am terrible at it. I don't remember anything, but at my height of I could crush just about anyone.
And
but
he's not kidding.
Wizards World Arcade, which was the one across from Steve's, was where you'd go to play people in Mortal Kombat 3. And anyone who stepped on that machine, I would destroy.
He was so good at it.
Like, just destroy. No one stood a chance. Except Bubea.
Yeah.
Who I do see still, by the way.
Really? You still see him?
Oh, he comes to my job sometimes.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
He's such a nicer guy than he was back then. He was a bit of a bully.
Yeah.
Bubea was a bully. Not anymore.
Okay.
He's a great guy now. Really cool. But he was, I'm like so good. But he was so much better than me. So I'm like, dude, you should, he would have been at the top of the tournament scene, I feel like. Bubea would have been killing everyone.
I remember being there sometimes and just see Wes just eating people alive with Cabal.
No one stood a chance.
Eating people alive.
But I wasn't just good with him.
No,
I
was weren't.
I was good with Sub-Zero too. Like I could just and I knew all the transformations
and Sindel.
Sindel was good with Sindel. I was good with Cyrax. Shang Tsung. I knew all the transformations, every single one. Like that's just a stupid amount of stuff to remember.
Yeah. He was fantastic.
I remember,
and also I remember too was like. People would watch you just beat the arcade mode like it was nothing.
Yeah, I could just finish the game.
He would go through arcade mode and people would just be sitting there like, how is he beating... It was Motaro in that game. Yeah. It's like, how is he just beating this game like it is nothing?
I remember I was at Great Adventure and I did it. And it was probably the best experience I've ever had playing a game because I felt like I was on TV in front of a billion people. It was at least 20, 25 people just standing around watching me beat this game. And
because you made it look so easy.
And I just beat it and walked off, and then everybody started clapping and everything, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I'd done it before, but the amount of people there at Great Adventure watching me after I must have dusted off probably at least 10 human players, just dusted them off. No one stood a chance. So then people got tired of losing, so they stopped putting their money in. So I ended up playing the actual game, and so many people watching.
Well, if you think about arcade difficulties in those games, once you get to like the third or fourth guy, it becomes really tough.
It does.
Because you have to manipulate the AI at that point. Yeah. Especially if you're playing like Trilogy and Jade just goes like this with you.
Yeah, the computer basically reacting to button presses. Yeah, they're reacting to button presses.
But way worse than anything else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was a fantastic
But I had that one down. And this is an experience I did not put on my list, but I must mention it because when same arcade, Great Adventure, 1996. In the summer, I was there, and I was playing a fighting game, and I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't Tekken 2 or 3. I don't remember which one. Right around that time. It was 96, I remember specifically. I'll get more into that. I was playing a game. It was a fighting game, and I looked to my left. And
it was Tekken, for sure. I know this.
It was 2 or 3, though. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3. It definitely wasn't the first one.
Okay.
And I looked to the left. And who is standing next to me, playing Tekken next to me, is Method Man.
Yes, I remember.
And this is at the height of Wu-Tang insanity.
This is METHOD Man.
Yes, and I looked at it, and I'm like just completely mind blown. Method Man is directly next to me while I'm playing. I don't even remember what it was. I don't know. I'm playing something, and I said, you know what? Screw this game. Method Man's playing Tekken. We're playing Tekken with Method Man. So I had to put the money in the game, and I just left the game. I didn't care. Who cares? 50 cents? Whatever. Who cares? I went and I played Tekken with Method Man. Absolutely destroyed him. Guess who gets on the game next? Inspect the Deck is on the game next. And this is not a crowd full of a bunch of people in the arcade. It's literally me, my friend Lord at the time, and 3 members of it was Method Man, Inspect the Deck, and the other guy I don't know who it was. I want to say he probably was one of their friends. But I killed Method Man. Inspect the Deck gets on the game next. And I'm like, what, is this my real life? Is this happening now? If you know me, you know how big of a Wu-Tang fan I am. I got 2 perfects on Inspect the Deck. He was complete trash at the game. Complete trash. Method Man gets back on. I beat Method Man again brutally. And there's nobody. For the first, I want to say however long it takes to play 3 games of Tekken. Right. And there's nobody. It's not a crowd. But by the time I got done playing Method Man for the 3rd time, the entire arcade is shoulder to shoulder. Because word must have got out that Method Man and Inspector Deck are in the arcade.
Okay.
So
more Method Man than Inspector Deck.
Yeah. More Method Man's in the arcade.
Yeah, Method Man's in the arcade.
It's absolute insanity in this place by that time. And some other kid gets on the game, and he's a Tekken master, and he absolutely destroys me. And just the whole time, I'm playing with Method Man, commentating in my ear. And it's the craziest thing of my life. And I took out I had nothing for him to sign. I took out a $5 bill. And I had him sign a $5 bill. And he wrote, Mr. Meth, One Love, 1996 on it. And I had that $5 bill all the way up until 5 years ago. I absolutely lost the $5 bill.
No.
Yes, man. No. So all I have is... of that is right. What's here, and
which is what matters.
Yeah, and that is an arcade experience that is huge.
Yeah,
I really don't have anywhere to go after that.
It's
not going to get bigger than that for me.
No,
but yeah, that was the most incredible thing.
That is
sorry to take up so much time with that story,
no,
but I feel like it had to be told.
Yeah, that's a fantastic story because not many people would have had that experience, and I remember it. I remember it happening. Which is crazy.
It was cool, man. It's a great story. Just to have done that.
So, on the other side of Steve's, a game that I wanted to mention just real quick is a game called 720 Degrees.
Also have that on my list.
Which you would find... First, I'm going to describe the cabinet, which is... It's funny. There's a joystick, but the joystick's at an angle, right? So you can spin it. Because when you get airborne, it's a skateboarding game. I guess I should have mentioned that. Yeah. It's a skateboarding game. Once you get airborne, to spin, try to get your 720 off.
Feels ugly. To me, I didn't like the way it felt.
I don't like the way it looks either.
Yeah.
But it's a really tough game. But you would see people who are fantastic at it. Yeah. The ball top was rotational, so you could just hold the top and kind of go.
Yeah, and it had no specific left or right to it. It was more just
a straight.
Never
circle.
seen anything like it now. When I think about it, right? That's the only one like that. Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
It was cool. It's fun. The first place I played that was at the roller rink.
Okay, the next one over there, and this is a game I remember that being with my dad, and I'm looking at gun games. It's a game called Chiller.
Also on my list.
Chiller is a game for complete sadists. Okay. I'm playing this game when I'm very young.
He had no business playing that game.
And I mean, it was a shooting game in the arcade. Back then, things were way more lax with that stuff anyway.
And this is pre-Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, well, it was, but Mortal Kombat had been out at this time.
But
Mortal Kombat got all this press about violence, and this game is 1,000 times worse than Mortal Kombat.
Much worse. But you know why I didn't get any press? Because it sucked.
It does.
It's not a good...
But you know what? It sucked in production value, but it's a game. You're getting points. It played well.
It played well. It was kind of fun, but it wasn't, so huge gross. Mortal Kombat in your face,
These guys, you have people... The first level, people on torture racks, and you're sitting there with a machine gun, and you're blowing... It's shot single fire, by the way. You're shooting people, and you're just blowing them apart. And they're naked, nude, boobs and everything.
Yeah, it was boobs.
You're just hitting every section of them to get points, and you have to fill up a point meter to beat the level.
Yeah.
But you had to split people apart, and it showed bones,
everything.
Guts.
It was disgusting.
It was foul.
Pretty,
and it was
pretty wretched game, and it was just.
I saw it.
The main point is to be terrible.
I'm not even gonna play this now. And while you're doing this, but the worst part, me watching it recently was, and something I guess you don't really get in the arcade, is when you're shooting them, they are screaming for their lives.
Yeah.
It's not like they're making arcadey fun sounds.
I recently watched that, too.
Oh, my God.
I watched a video of YouTube on that. Dude, I want to say, last year, and I watched the whole thing because I wanted to see all the levels. Yeah. And it was just...
It gets wacky after, the second.
But not
fighting ghosts and monsters.
Yeah, but it's still terrible. There's still stuff off to the side that's
it's grotesque. But the first 2 levels are just people.
Yeah, it's like a guy in a torture rack, and you have to shoot... The thing that spins to separate them, and you're just
oh my god, it was awful.
It's like, this is what we're doing now, huh?
So, next on that list, we were at a spot in a bowling alley, and there's a game called Gunbuster.
Yeah, and I never remember the name. Fortunately, I have this guy. He knows the name of the game, and it's a phenomenal game.
It's basically the dual analog shooter in the arcade.
If you can joystick. Find this game, play it.
Play it.
So look for it.
Yeah,
Find it and play it.
It has a joystick and an arcade gun, and you use one to move around the environment like GoldenEye-ish, and the other one is to aim and shoot. And it was 2 players. You could play it actually co-op or versus.
Yeah.
But the one thing I remember the most is in these levels is when you're shooting through glass and stuff, it's just shattering everywhere. Like, it's not like you couldn't shoot through it. Like, stuff's breaking. It was almost like what was the machine gun version of Crisis Zone?
Crisis Zone.
Everything kind of broke.
Yeah.
It was just like that, man. It was crazy.
It is a very unique. I've only seen it once. I want to say.
That's the only place I ever saw it.
That's
the only time I ever played it.
Ever seen it, and thanks to the internet, we found it again.
Right.
But you know, before all the games and the existence ended up on the internet, it was something that we didn't know the name of after a while.
15 years.
Yeah, and we could never even find any footage of it. And fortunately, we can look at it now again, but it was one of definitely the most unique games ever, and a complete, huge, great fun.
Yeah.
Great fun. Great game.
Going back to Wizard World, I remember walking in there, and there's a gigantic screen, like big CRT theater screen with real cowboys getting shot, and the game is called Mad Dog McCree.
I want to give a round of applause.
So again, this is a shining West moment in arcades where he played this game so damn much. And mind you, everything's scripted, so you can kind of know what's going on.
I remember Mad Dog, yeah. But they did throw little curveballs.
Yes.
There was curveballs in there that they would throw to mix it up a little bit.
Like the guys wouldn't always come at the same order.
Yeah.
But they would be in the same spot.
in the same spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mad Dog McCree, another fully live action kind of Sega CD experience in the arcade, and it was crazy. It was awesome at the time. Couldn't believe it. But at the end of the game, it was so ridiculous. Okay, oh my god, it was so good too though. You have to do a standoff.
The amount of tension that they were able to put into this stupid game.
You have to do a standoff with Mad Dog McCree.
Yeah, and the way you reload in Mad Dog is to shoot off screen.
Right.
So they took that mechanic and basically made it into a quick draw to whereas you couldn't be pointing the gun towards the screen at the time of when you're supposed to, so you actually had to, or you could even maybe stick it up in the air and then come down.
Okay,
But as long as it wasn't pointing at the screen, if you just kept it out there, you lose. Because, it could recognize that the light gun's pointing at the screen. So you had to be off screen.
Yeah,
and then
I never
wham,
thought.
And shoot, and it's a headshot.
Yeah, you had to get him in a headshot, and it wasn't like he was a torso up. It was just whole body.
Yeah, and it was a pretty small head, and it had to be a headshot. And it was twice you had to hit him.
You're right. The first one staggered him.
First one staggers him, and then you have to.
And then he goes, oh!
Yeah.
And then you can't just hit him again either.
You have to wait.
Wait till he comes back towards you, and then you can get him again.
Yeah.
And that again, this guy is just sitting there That
was my game.
I'm going to put $1 and beat Mad Dog.
It was $1.
I'm going to put $1 and beat Mad Dog.
The thing is, our parents would give us $10.
Yeah.
And Mad Dog's taking a friggin' $1, dude. Mad Dog's taking $1. So you had to get good at it.
If you weren't, Mad Dog would take $10.
Yeah. So there was no way I was gonna spend all my credits on one game. So I ended up getting really good at Mad Dog to the point where I could put in $1 and just finish Mad Dog without even being shot. I would never try it now. I don't know anything about it anymore. But back then I was a Mad Dog savant.
We had the second one for 3DO.
Which is not nearly as good.
No, but
it was fun.
It was great though.
No, it was fun. No, it was really fun. It was not as good, but it was fun.
Wizard World, game that's unique. I never played it anywhere else but there. It was a unique driving game, and it's called Road Riot.
Why do I not remember
Road Riot is a game where you sat in a buggy, and you could shoot each other.
Yeah.
It had like a hammer in the back of the seat, so when you got shot, it would be like bum, bum,
yeah, you'd
bum,
feel it. But
bum,
that wasn't the first place I played that.
Yeah, that I had never even seen it anywhere.
First place I played that was at Battlemount. They had it.
They had Road Riot at Battlemount?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? For some reason, I kind of do remember that.
Yeah, they had Road Riot. That was the first place I played it.
Okay.
I do remember playing it at the other arcade as well, but the first place was. So crazy how they stand out like that, right? Like, remember the first place you saw it. Stupid game.
Right.
Yeah.
Notable mention real quick is at our bowling alley. They didn't have it for too long, but they had a game called Darius, which was a
shmup.
Yeah, it was a shoot 'em up side scroller one.
I vaguely remember.
With all the enemies are kind of fishy. It's a very famous game. But the cabinet they had there was 3 screens wide, and
I don't remember.
Your ship was in the middle, but you could clearly see stuff coming from both sides, and the enemies were huge. So you have guys come from behind because there was so much room to look, and then the big old fish and stuff was coming. It was so cool at the time. The game's not even that great. But the fact that you were looking at 3 full-size monitors...
Was it kind of slow for a shmup?
It was pretty slow.
I feel like it was kind of slow for a shmup.
Yeah, it was pretty slow.
I do remember playing it. I was big into, for some reason, arcade wrestling games. Yeah.
I never was. I couldn't.
I was not good at them. I would waste money on them.
Right.
But for some reason, I had this weird infatuation with arcade wrestling games. Even back at the bowling alley when I was a little kid. Like, probably 7 or 8, they had this one tag team wrestling game. And I don't remember the name specifically, but I remember one of the guys would turn red and just completely obliterate you, and you didn't stand a chance. I don't remember what it was.
Was that the one they ported to Nintendo? Because they do that in the Nintendo one.
Yes, it was ported to Nintendo. And once the computer guy turns red,
then you get hit.
But I would just put money into this game like a little dummy and just lose it. And then from there they had the main event. It was a tag team wrestling game. I was a little older.
Yes. Okay, now the main event is not WrestleFest.
No.
The main event was great. It was great. It was great. It was great because of the button.
It's terrible. Yeah, that's why it was good. From a technical standpoint, it's a horrible game. Dude. You can't pick any moves. You can't do anything. It's all kind of randomized based on this. It had this one circular button about this big.
It's huge.
And
they had a regular button and that.
Yeah, and that was like the kick out button or whatever it was. But that's really loud. But the game is terrible. The game is absolutely. Oh my gosh!
I loved it.
YouTube it.
Okay.
When you get a chance, YouTube it and watch it for 3 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes before you say, no, this is a terrible game.
3 count. Give you a 3 count.
You will not watch more than 3 minutes of that game.
Man.
Well, then there was WWF Superstars. Great game. And it was, $1 Million Man and Virgil were like the bosses. So good. And then there was a sequel, WrestleFest.
Oh, is that? I was going to say, I thought they were the same. Okay.
Yeah. Superstars, the sprites were much smaller.
Okay.
But it had Macho Man, $1 Million Man. I don't know Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan. It had a bunch of cool Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It was cool. It was so dope. I was not good at it, but I used to play it a lot. And then after that, WrestleFest came out. And if you've never played WrestleFest, don't talk to me.
WrestleFest. I think everybody's played WrestleFest. Yeah, right? I think everyone's played
good, and it's huge sprites. And at the time, it was the hugest guys. Like Earthquake is in there. Like, what game can you think of ever using Earthquake? Sergeant Slaughter. And everyone had their own signature moves, and they were not hard to do. You basically had to fill up like a momentum meter, and everybody would get a chance. Jake the Snake. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior,
and I remember
it was a Royal Rumble mode.
Watching the marquee for that, you would always see Earthquake doing his move where he jumps up and down.
Yes, and it was just
off the ropes.
A great arcadey wrestling game. It's just super fun.
Okay,
it's on my list.
I never was big in the wrestling arcade games. I just feel like I could never win at the time.
Because you can't.
I was never good at them. So, the next one for me is a unique shooter that we saw, and this is a popular one though. And Silent Scope.
I forgot about Silent Scope.
Silent Scope in the arcade. You had a sniper rifle, right?
Good.
And when you walk up to it, you don't really understand what's happening, but you put your money in, and the game has a nice small tutorial on how to play. The scope itself has a screen inside that is zoomed in on where you're aiming on the big screen.
But just to put it into perspective, there's also a regular screen.
Yeah.
Where other people, other people can watch you play it. So
yeah.
But once you look into that scope, they don't have that cool scope perspective. Right. But it's good because as you're looking into the scope, if you have to not look into the scope at some point because you have to move the gun from the outside. If you try and stay scoped in, you'll take forever looking for your target.
To find the guys.
But you look into the scope once you get close, and I'm glad you brought that up.
It was cool.
That's such a cool game, man.
It was awesome.
And you can get good at it, and you could get far.
Yeah, well, you got good at it like you would kind of Virtual Cop. Yeah. It was made by Sega too, I believe. And you got good if you kept both eyes open. You could see where the guy is and then scope him. Bam. Yeah. Bam. Bam. And it was cool.
No, it was really cool.
I think some of the bosses you had to shoot like certain parts of vehicles and stuff.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Let's see. There was a game. It was another shooting game where one person drove and had a gun, and the other person had a gun, and you could have a guy driving. Somebody had two guns. You know, however you wanted to play. It was called Lucky and Wild, and
basically a rip off of Tango and Cash.
But the person who's driving
so fun
had to actually drive like a driving game, first person though,
yeah.
And you had to avoid stuff while you shot other stuff, and it was great. It's like a game that you don't see. Make sure you go look it up if you have a chance. Called Lucky and Wild.
Yeah, YouTube that. And tell me that you don't want to play it, and I will call you a liar to your face.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Next is a game on both our lists for sure. There's a game called Devastators, and it played like the G.I. Joe arcade game,
which if you don't know is like Cabal.
It's like a ball, but you're running the whole time.
Constantly running. It's not like, Cabal stages. You stop, shoot, destroy, then go forward.
This is a third-person rail shooter, is what I would describe it as.
Yeah.
You're going forward and you're shooting. It's kind of weird. The bullets have like a really short arc before they hit the ground, but that's just so you have to be in a certain range to hit stuff. And we played it in South Dakota, man.
We used to hang at that bar, which is, in retrospect, not a ideal place for children to be hanging, but we spend a lot of time in a bar by ourselves.
I don't know where it was geographically to Grandma's house, though.
It's right almost across the street and 2 blocks to the left. It's still there.
Oh, was that the one?
Yeah, the one that I went to with Mom a couple years back, and it was like you could tell the vibe in there was get this black guy out of here now.
Yeah, it's kind of like
so
that.
I had half a drink and fled.
Yeah, but it's I didn't know like if it was a different place, but I do remember being in there. And the game was...
We spent hours in there.
The game was cool.
It was really fun, too.
They had that there, and they
had elevator action.
Did they really arcade?
Elevator action in there, yeah.
Okay.
And they also had Ivan Stewart's Offroad, which is on my list because I played that game way more than I ever should have.
Okay. But this isn't your average Offroad.
No.
Your average Offroad was 3 players, and you had the trucks, right? But this was a weird 2-player cabinet, right?
Yeah.
Where you could pick a car. In Offroad, you could pick a car.
What?
It was like a...
Why wasn't that a standard option?
Yeah,
I feel like that is like not something that's too hard to implement anywhere, and I don't recall seeing it anywhere else.
Nah, man, it was a real... It's like apparently it's a rare cabinet. I did look it up because I had a tough time finding it because I didn't know if it was licensed.
I didn't know that.
It's just a rare version of Offroad that you kind of don't see anywhere.
Kudos to South Dakota's bar. Viber, you had
rare Offroad.
The rare Offroad, and that's a game where you're dumping money in.
Oh, yeah.
Because the computer is going to win when they feel like friggin' winning. They want to win, you lose. And then you put more money in.
So, in the off-road genre, a game that's not on my list I don't talk about because I am great at it. I think I'm still pretty good at it.
Please tell me it's about... I want to know what you're going to say, and I'm going to show you that it's on the top of my list.
Super Sprint.
Bam! On the top of my list.
Super Sprint. I am amazing at Super Sprint.
I was good too. I'm probably garbage now, but
I'm amazing at it.
It is I don't even know why it's on my list because it's such a simple game. But the way the wheel spins feels so good.
So you playing Super Sprint is a game with 3 wheels.
Yeah, 3.
3 wheels.
Yeah.
And you always had the great computer car if you had three players, and just a top-down racing game, off-road style. But it's but you're on a track.
Computer's gonna win when they want to win,
unless you're me. So, dude, if you once you get good at that game and you start hitting all the shortcuts,
you can beat the computer.
Won't win.
Really?
Yes.
I guess I'm not good. I thought I was good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm good against like people that are not good.
As I got older, I probably won't be able to do it great now. But as I got older, playing Super Sprint, man, you spin. You learn to just throw the wheel. You don't steer it like a car. You throw the wheel, so your car just does like 180s real quick.
And you catch the wheel.
Boom, bang.
And it feels great. Because the wheel is on...
It's so responsive.
It's so responsive, and it spins so smooth.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing. It almost spins smooth like a trackball.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? There's no friction. Great. No friction. And I want to say its spiritual successor would be Offroad. But if you ask me which one I like better, I will tell you Super Sprint.
Super Sprint every day. Game, I don't remember where we were. It might have been Seaside. I really have no clue. I know the arcade also had Ninja Warriors in it. And I actually remember they had a Pac-Man machine that only cost 15 cents, which is weird.
What?
But yeah, it was weird. Like the retro games were actually cheaper at this place, so we
15 cents.
15.
So they want a dime and a nickel, or do you put a quarter in and get a dime back?
No, it won a dime and a nickel. So Pac-Man, it was 15 cents.
What is that? I've never. All right.
But this was the first time I saw Virtual On in person when we were kids, and the Virtual On cabinet was twin stick.
I don't remember this.
What? Virtual On cabinet was twin stick, and you sat in it. It was a 2-player cab, and you know what Virtual On is.
Oh yeah.
It's like a robot fighting game. It's actually third person.
Yeah.
But you play with twin sticks to move. And
I remember we had it on.
Are so hard in the arcade.
We had a console version of that, correct? A Sega.
Yeah.
On one of the Segas, was it Dreamcast?
There is a Dreamcast one, but we had it on PS2 as well.
Okay.
But I think the first time might have been Dreamcast.
All right. I played a lot of this game. I played a ton of this game, but I don't remember the arcade version.
It's a one-on-one kind of Gundam-y robot fighter, in the height of the 3D graphics models.
But it's fast.
I mean? It's fast, and it's playing with these sticks. If you didn't, like your first time without a tutorial, you had no idea what to do. You had to move them both, and your opponent is just going so much faster than you because he's dashing around. But that game was crazy to see the first time in the arcade. What else do you have on your list that we have not yet
Something
mentioned?
that is not a good game.
Okay.
That I do remember fondly playing more than I should have is Time Killers.
Time Killers.
Which I seen
Game sucks.
so bad.
But it's
which
cool.
It came out after the gore fest of Mortal Kombat. And they had it at the Seaview Square Mall arcade. And it was huge, big sprites, and it was extremely, extremely gory. You could cut limbs off and keep fighting.
Fighting.
Yeah, you could get your arm cut off and continue. You could technically win a fight with no arms.
Yeah.
But as far as the game, the way it plays is just not.
It looks so you know.
It looks the graphics are really cool.
No, they're actually not.
No.
If you go
I remember
back,
them being huge sprites and looking awesome.
So you have like Street Fighter, right? Which is like a good graphics for a fighting game back then. Then if you take it down a notch, you have like Eternal Champions, which is not that good looking. And then again would be like Time Killers. It actually looks really bad.
I recall it.
It looks
You'd
really
know better than
I remember I actually played a guy named Mantaz.
You know better than me.
Who is a praying mantis. And he like spun his claws and
I don't
just
know if
blood everywhere.
I don't know if it had fatalities.
Yeah, hell yeah, it did.
It
but
did?
you basically just delimbed everything, legs, arms.
Okay.
But I mean, like Mantaz would just like spin his things and.
That game was a spectacle.
It was,
and it's not really good, but it
That's
just for some reason stuck out.
Also,
Also,
I'm actually pretty happy you mentioned.
I've got one more. I probably have more than one, but this is one of the. When I was younger at Wizards World, that when I always walked in was one of the first things I'd play. Is Bad Dudes.
Bad Dudes arcade plays so good.
Yes,
it does.
Great side-scrolling beat 'em up, and I take it over Double Dragon 10 times out of 10.
You know what, man? Double Dragon may have broke boundaries, but it's not good. It's not good. I have no problem admitting to anyone that Double Dragon actually sucks. Just like Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't like that game either. Double Dragon is not good.
I agree 100%.
It's not good. It plays chunky.
It's trash.
It's just not good. It's not a good game at all.
I don't like it.
So speaking of Double Dragon real quick, you remember the one where, I think it was on Sega, the Double Dragon thing on Sega, where you could like buy items and get the nunchucks and stuff? The arcade version of that, the original one,
okay,
you couldn't earn items by playing. You would go to an in-game shop and you put quarters in to buy items and health and stuff like that, and then they eventually changed it. It was the original DLC. It was the original downloadable content. It was microtransactions within this arcade game. You could buy items and
I had
weapons.
no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that.
I don't know if it's Arcade Double Dragon 3 or if it's called something of the Stones or whatever, but this game actually plays great. Like really cool sprites. I think it was 3 players. I think there was a yellow dragon,
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna say Bimmy, Jimmy, and Stimmy.
All right.
But it was cool. One game that we played, and I couldn't find the name of it, I'm really sorry, is there's an arcade shooting game where it was kind of haunted houses. You shot monsters, and you sat in it, and it had like a double-handled gun, kind of like the ones you would use at the fair during the squirt gun game, right?
Yeah.
But on that gun was a tiny window, and if you looked through it while you played, you saw a 3D image of the laser shooting your targets.
And you shoot actual 3D looking ghosts.
Yeah, the ghosts were 3D too, man.
It was really, really cool. Like, if you see it on a MAME somewhere, something like that, you can't even play it because it needs the actual physical parts to run properly. Right. I don't remember the name of it.
Don't know
but
what
it was super, super fun. Super simple. Only one room. You're looking at one room the entire time, and you're shooting for points. Yeah. But it's really, really cool.
I'm so mad I don't know what it was.
I don't remember the name. It's super fun, super simple. Operation Wolf is on my list.
Operation Wolf. So, okay, I'll let you go first because it's on your list.
To me, Operation Wolf was like the original one that I can remember that got me, the first gun game. Yeah. And
before Terminator.
Yeah. But the Uzi in this game, I don't know what it was.
Uzi. Yo, I don't care. I think it was real.
I don't know what a real Uzi feels like. But this thing felt like as close as you could feel to a legit machine gun. Yeah. And it shook the hell out of you. Yeah. As I don't know if it would as an adult, but I remember as a kid holding on to that thing. I'm like, what? Yeah. And it's a quarter stealing game. Like crazy. Yeah. But tons of fun, and the gun stands out. And I will put it up next to any other gun game out there, just for the fact of the way the gun feels.
Even the way the gun felt and sounded at the same time kind of felt so legit that you were taking these shots like
clunky, chunky, and heavy gun.
Oh my god, that game felt really good.
Yeah, and it's not a great
game by any means.
Yeah, it's a quarter muncher,
especially because you can run out of ammo
so fast. Yeah, what the hell? You could run out. I forgot. You could run out of ammo. Not run out of your special grenades.
No, you run
out of bullets.
In a game where guys just constantly come in the screen.
They want your quarter so bad.
You had to shoot the ammo crates.
Yeah, and
you could run out of ammo.
You could run out. I'm never playing that again.
Yeah, kind of like Gauntlet, where you basically your health just keeps going down. Which is another BS
run out of ammo. Gauntlet is a game that everybody's played. It's also not on my list, but it's a staple. Yeah, in the arcade.
So honorable mention for me. I think that's pretty much my list of the stuff that I really wanted to mention. Honorable mentions, some Midway games. First time you ever saw, it's like Smash TV. Was really cool. Dual analog. I'm a big Robotron fan after the fact, though. Over like Robotron for me happened afterwards. I love Twins. I love
that's his thing.
I love Robotron, but Smash TV, quarter munching game. The bosses, man, just
impossible.
Just stupid. So stupid to actually play that game. And then Narc.
That
arcade
was in my honorable mentions list. That was in it.
Narc, dude, another quarter wrecking game, but man, and you know what though? We're so used to the Nintendo look. The arcade Narc is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous
to look at.
It is gorgeous, and the sound is great.
Oh my god, the way like everything is smooth. It's like I swear it's like an HD arcade game. Yeah, where the animations for the guys and everything is so good. It's all digitized. You're blowing drug dealers away.
Super gory. I felt like it kind of went under the radar on the gore factor.
It's not bloody though. It's just like body parts. It's not.
Yeah, but but if you look at the content in the game,
it's adult themed for sure.
Yeah.
Crack like bags and
people shooting needles at you like hypodermic needles and junkies and people exploding.
Not so much gory, but like really adult themed. Girls who are clearly supposed to be hookers, like. But that game, man, that game is just beautiful.
It's a great game. It's a quarter muncher, but it's a great game.
Game honorable mention for me, Xenophobe is on there.
That's a South Dakota bar arcade game.
Xenophobe.
And it's great.
3 players. You're just kind of going through corridors. You have to kill a certain amount of guys.
I don't think you can beat it.
I don't think the game ever ends. Yeah, but
it's mad fun.
Cool game. What about you? What else do you have?
Superman.
Oh, Superman is fantastic. We have to play that. We have to play that game.
I think that's a great idea. Superman side scrollers. I'm not going to get into it. It's on my honorable mentions, and it's a lot of fun. We co-op game.
We played that.
Red Superman.
Remember where we beat it?
Yeah, at the video game rental store, and we had ran out of quarters, but they had 2 arcade machines in there, and we actually went there to play arcade games, and we ran out of quarters, but we were there so often at the video game rental store that the people loved us there. Yeah. And when we ran out of quarters, they went into the register and gave us quarters and just kept feeding them into the machine
so we could beat it.
So we could beat the game because we were 2 little kids, and we were all the way at the end of the game, and they just were like, here, and they just gave us quarters. It was the most awesome experience. It's really cool.
That was very nice of them. I mean, the money was going to them.
Her name was Julie.
Her name was Julie. Yeah, it was right next to the vacuum repair joint.
Exactly.
It was in that nook.
And then they moved to West Long Branch, and they were in that. If you go past where the Dollar General is on the right, where our bounce is, when you get up to the corner, there's like a strip, and they were in the very back left corner.
Yeah. Okay.
And also on my honorable mentions that I'm not gonna talk about: Altered Beast, Robocop, and I think that's it.
Yo, Altered Beast in the arcade. I remember.
Oh, Moonwalker.
Oh, Moonwalker.
We should talk a little about that.
That's more than a mention. Moonwalker.
Yeah, that Moonwalker.
Where did you see it first? Because I have no clue.
Seaview Square Arcade Mall.
Was it Seaview? Yeah. Okay. So in retrospective, actually, the Moonwalker cabinet is mad small.
Yeah, man.
Mad small, but
it's really stupid. Actually,
3 players.
The size of it is actually stupid.
3 players, man. It's not like the Sega game. It's a
beat 'em up.
It's a beat 'em up game. You're
like
walking around shooting electric stuff. The game was mad fun. Mad Michael Jackson references in there. You had a dance button that everybody could mash at the same time, and you would the whole screen would choreograph and do the moves.
Kill everybody on the screen.
You found Bubbles and turned into the Bubbles.
I don't know if you found
Bubbles into the robot. Yeah.
But
Bubbles turns into the robot.
You do turn into the robots.
It's Bubbles. It's the Sega one that you get the pill that kind of flies down.
Okay.
But yeah, in that game it was Bubbles that turns into the robot. And man, that game was good.
It's a great arcade. They have it at Yestercades.
Yeah, they do.
I remember playing it with the kids last time I was there, and it's so tight.
The cabinet's mad tiny. Yeah. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's different versions. Like there's a lot.
Yeah, maybe there's just different versions. But I remember the one that I just played recently in like the last year or two. I was just huddled. I'm next to kids.
What was your other mention? I felt like I wanted to talk about it.
Robocop.
I don't remember the Robocop arcade game at all.
It's a lot of fun. Okay. I had it at Wizards World, and it stands out to me for one reason. Not because it's a great game, but because I came off the beach. And I don't know if this is a common thing after coming off to the beach, but I came off the beach and I went and I popped some quarters into Robocop. And I grabbed the controller, hit the button, and got electrocuted worse than I've ever got electrocuted in my life.
This happened to me before.
Yes, I got electrocuted so bad. Like I actually was like, and just like and I was done.
You know when this happened to me?
And it changed my life.
I came off the beach. And I went to go play pole position one time. I popped in the quarters.
And it got you.
And I grabbed the wheel. Mind you, the wheel's rubber, so it wasn't there. And it was a stand-up pole position cab. Put my foot down that pedal. Boom! Got wrecked, man.
Jolted?
I stepped away. Didn't know what happened.
Yeah, I didn't understand what
happened. Did it again because I didn't know what it was.
I didn't go back in for a second.
No, I went in. I was like, yo, what the hell was that? Whatever.
I did not go in for a second.
Me again, dude. Oh, my God.
I got one good one. And immediately went outside, dried off, and continued my gaming. I don't even remember if I went.
Because it happened to me.
I don't remember if I went back and even played Robocop that day. But Robocop was a great side-scroller. Shooting side-scroller. It was a super, super fun game. And it's good. If I seen it again, I would definitely play it. But what stands out the most about Robocop is it shocked me. And that's it. That's all I got.
I remember the Robocop consoles games, but not the arcade at all.
It's good.
Terminator 2 was a mention. I know we mentioned it before, but
I was on your list.
Playing Terminator 2 in the arcade was a crazy experience. At the height of the Terminator Nation, you get to the part with the chopper you're riding on the truck. The guys are on the truck. You will lose every time. And the bad part about that is when you lost,
you could lose.
Didn't keep going. Yeah. You had to start the level over.
And it's very odd for an arcade.
No, but they knew
on-rail shooter.
They knew
to lose.
They knew that because that was right before the last level. They knew that was going to wreck people. Another one in the same genre, Revolution X.
Oh, the Aerosmith game.
Cheesy game, great game though, man.
So fun.
Played cool.
So fun.
That was a gun game.
It's so funny to put those two together. Like whoever thinks of like any kind of revolution against the system, when you think of Aerosmith.
But it played cool.
No, it played great. I thought
most played great. There's no doubt most people that are on YouTube or talk about it are so quick to say, this game is so stupid. But you know what? If you grew up and you went and saw the game in the arcade and you played it,
you had fun.
You're throwing CDs at people and they're blowing up.
Yeah, the game's fun. It's a quarter muncher, but it's fun.
It was cool.
And another quarter muncher that I think of now, it's not on my list, that I'm going to bring up just for the retro nostalgia, and I played it a ton, and I probably spent more than $50 on it in my life, is Rampage.
Yeah, that's a quarter muncher.
It's a staple, though, man.
It is.
It's a
Rampage.
staple. It is something that if you've ever been in the arcade scene or came up in the arcade days, there's 2 games you've played, and one is Rampage and the other is Paperboy.
Right. Paperboy, though, you could get good at.
No, this guy's a phenomenal Paperboy player. He's a phenomenal Paperboy player.
I'm not. Like it's nothing.
I'm not. He can beat the game easy, but those are just 2 games I feel like, Rampage is quarter muncher. You can't beat fucking Rampage. Excuse me, I didn't mean to curse. I held it back the whole time.
Okay.
I did so well. Right at the end, slipped.
I've dropped a couple.
All right. I'm sorry, but Rampage is just a game you've played.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in the arcade scene, and Paperboy is too.
One last mention for gun games, and then we're done. Is
I gotta get to work.
Is Time Crisis. You're shooting. The first time you played a gun game where you held it and the gun cocks each time you shoot. Felt so
amazing.
Cool. Then they added 2 players.
Feels so good.
And the cover system with the foot thing.
And you can get good at it.
It's normal now to see it in all the arcades as a gun game, but when it first came out, was absolutely insane.
The first one was not a quarter muncher.
No,
I got good enough to beat the first Time Crisis on 1 credit.
Yeah.
The
first cabinets were gigantic too.
Yeah,
they were huge, like movies.
They must have done incredibly well in the arcades, because there was a ton of sequels. There was Time Crisis 2, Time Crisis 3,
Crisis
and then
Zone.
there was the machine gun one, right?
Yeah, Crisis
and
Zone.
I want to say there was one like a SWAT. There's a SWAT version one.
There's 4, which you can choose your gun as you're playing.
Yes,
the different guns.
Yes. There's
then
a ton of sequels.
5 now, which we've never seen in person, where you can. There's 2 pedals per person, and when you click left or right, you strafe around.
No way! That is amazing.
Yeah. They don't have it around here. I saw it online.
Saw it on the internet. That's amazing.
They don't have it around here, but they have Time Crisis 5 where you can strafe around.
That's so dope. Yeah. That's so dope.
That's cool.
But they progressively gotten worse as far as quarter munching goes, though.
Oh yeah, now as soon as you get to like the second level, red.
You're gonna put money in. Yeah, the original Time Crisis, if you remembered and you played it enough, you could just bang, 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 and it worked on a time system. So you had to clear the area in a certain amount of time, and if you did, you get bonus time. But if you got good enough, your bonus time, you could just play.
Keep going.
Yeah,
cool. Well, I think that's about it for our arcade retrospective in our relationship as brothers. I guess some of the things that we saw at different places.
It was a great trip down memory lane for me.
Yeah, so
a great trip.
Make sure you guys check out youtube.com/HitPointsGaming for more stuff like this. Check us out on Spreaker, the Filling the Void Podcast Network, and we will catch you guys next time.
Peace. Thanks for having me.